Hi, my name is Kariatu Diallo, and I'll be leading the web development series. In today's first session, I'm going to go over how to use Figma to prototype a website. Before I start, just a little bit about me. My name is Kariatu Diallo, and I'm a social media/web developer intern at the Caribbean Preservation Alliance. I'm going into my junior year studying computer science at Boston University, and I have a really big passion for creating inclusive technologies and design and aesthetic, design strategy, and as well as creative thinking. For those of you who aren't really familiar with what Figma is a free browser-based design tool used to create user interfaces and prototypes. You can kind of think of Figma as a Google Docs, but for designing and implementing an app or a prototype. In Figma, you can design, share, and collaborate with other people all in one place. It's typically used by designers, developers, and products teams to plan what websites and apps will potentially look like before any coding arrives. So Figma helps speed up development with a visual reference. It also allows users to test their layout, spacing, and typography. And lastly, it makes communication between design and code easier. So I know many companies and design teams at different companies kind of utilize Figma to envision what a product or app might look like before any technical aspects are tied to it. So it allows people to basically kind of envision what something might look like before actually working towards technical code towards it. And it's a really effective tool, and many people use it at different companies to kind of do that process thinking. So today we're building a web design prototype in Figma. Another way you can think of Figma is like using Canva, but for a website or app. I will walk through different features of Figma and how we can use it to implement our website before any coding happens. Another great thing about Figma is it'll show you the process of navigation. So for instance, let's say I have a login page login button on my home page. I can use Figma to kind of show what the next step would look like after pressing that login button. So Figma kind of gives you the opportunity to have multiple frames within your project to kind of show how navigating your website or app can kind of look like, and it allows for a more seamless and accessible way of kind of seeing how your website or app can actually work in real life. When it comes to website building and website designing, a very vital part about this is interactive features. So interactive features can be animations, hover effects, and dynamic content. And this creates a more immersive environment that captures users' attention and also kind of makes them want to explore and navigate through a website or app even more. These features not only make the website visually appealing, but it also encourages users to interact with the content that's on your website, leading to increased engagement and retention. Animations to enhance user experience, hover effects for improved navigation, and dynamic content that updates in real time are all very big key features that makes a website very efficient and very engaging for users to use. A lot of the times in Figma, there are built-in animations that you can add to your website design to kind of mimic that interactive element that many websites use to engage their users. An example of dynamic content that updates in real time that we often see within websites are some sort of countdown. So let's take shopping brands or H&M for example. Whenever there's a sale on the homepage, there's usually a big countdown kind of counting down the sale so that users can know that there's a sale going on and to kind of encourage them to buy more of their products. So that's only one example of dynamic content, and there's a lot of different ones. Figma is a really great tool that many companies that we may know, like Amazon, Microsoft, and Capital One, utilize to design prototypes for either apps or even features that they want to add to their company products. according to theirstack.com. One in particular is EduWorks, which is a platform to promote education. And this website was specifically designed using Figma. And if you click on the link, we can kind of see like different cool features like the animations and things like that. So yeah. Now let's get into our live demo with Figma. So we're going to be building a simple prototype for a website. And if you don't already have an account, you can sign up with Figma very easily using Google. And there's going to be a bit of some starter layout that's going to be in the demo, but I hope you guys can follow along. So this is my starting page. So I just created a new project, and I'm creating a website called Eat New York City, which basically is going to recommend different and trendy restaurants within New York City to people that are like tourists or even like living in New York City currently. And so far I just added my like nav bar as well as my heading. So in the left corner you can see the logo, which I just like use like a certain font, and then in the right you can see like home, restaurants, and like contact. So let's get started. I'm going to add content into this home page, like in this section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image. So I'm going to go here, well, not here, go into shape, and then click image slash video, and then I'm going to go into my image of the city. Okay, so this is going to add image, make it smaller. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as my background, so I'm going to bring to the back so that let me just make this a bit small. Okay. And then when I get here, I'm gonna add like a welcome sign. I'm gonna make this like maybe 100. Oh, I didn't add changes. Okay. And then I'm gonna make let's see. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna welcome New York City. Okay, so I'm gonna have explore. Actually, have like a bio. Okay, so I'm just basically writing out a description of what my website is and kind of having some sort of like text to welcome users to the website. So I'm gonna continue like writing this out and then work with repositioning everything so that it fits my standards. Okay, so I think I'm gonna reposition this to be in the middle. There you go. So I think this looks more better like visually, and I'll try to like center it a bit. Okay, and then I feel like the nav bar is also a bit off-centered, so I'm gonna like try to change it to be more to the right. All right, Okay, so for now we have like some starter like in filler information for like our homepage. I'm gonna go and add a like line underneath this so that it just has like clear like dividers. Let me make it straight. Okay. Actually, I think instead of using a line, I think I'm going to use like a rectangular shape in order to divide it between the footers. So like this portion is going to just have like something similar, like reiterating like the nav bar in the top, and the footer is just going to have like the logo name and like the contact and things like that. So I'm going to try to find the color to use. I want it to be like a bit similar like to the white, but a bit off-white, so that you can kind of see that it's different from like the main content of the page. And I think this looks pretty good. Okay, so I think now I'm just gonna start adding my information. So I'm gonna put the logo there again at the bottom, and for visibility I'm gonna definitely like change the color of this so that it's basically matches and contrasts with the footer's background. So let's get that and then plug it in. Okay, I think here is good. Okay, let me change this color to maybe like a black reddish color, and then okay, I think that may be a bit off. Okay, I'm gonna make this just a little bit bigger and then reposition. Hold on, this is giving me a little trouble. Okay, let me just position it a bit more higher and then move, yeah, okay. Move this to the center. I'm gonna also change this to the footer so that I know like where it's coming from when I look back at like my project. So it's definitely important to be a bit more organized and like make sure like you're noting down what belongs where so that you can easily like manipulate whatever you need to once like your website gets a bit more content heavy. Okay, I think I'm gonna change the font of this to be a bit different. Okay, I think just make it a bit more smaller and also fit within the Instagram logo. After repositioning it, I'm just going to try to basically group these two together so they act as one. And then in my layer section, I'm going to just add social to it. So that looks good. Great, perfect. Alright, I think instead I'm just going to group all of these together. So I'm going to first basically just ungroup it first, and then afterwards I'm going to try to regroup it all together and just place it all under like the footer section, just so that it's like easier to read and for visibility. So let me edit this to say footer. Okay, so I think our home page is complete. We're gonna now move into the restaurants tab and creating that page. So I'm gonna just have the same prototype, so it's a MacBook Air, and then I'm gonna edit this so that it could say restaurants. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to my regular page and I'm gonna basically link restaurants to this next page so that when users click on restaurants on the home page, it points them to this restaurants page that we're gonna build. I'm gonna like click this restaurants tab, and then there should be like a prototype part where we're gonna basically like take this plus sign and then point it to the next page. So you can see like on click, it's gonna say navigate to restaurants. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And then now I'm basically gonna try to have like consistency within my pages. So I'm gonna try to copy like all of this to the new page, and instead of having like the same because the header is essentially going to stay the same because you still want to have access to all of those other pages, but I also want the similar layout where I'm going to change the picture and also change the welcome to Eat New York City sign to say restaurants, like explore restaurants instead. So let's try to get that pasted. Let's call this header. Okay, so now what I'm gonna basically try to do is copy this header portion directly onto the restaurants page. And let me just group that portion into the body so that this shows like this is like the body of the text. And then after this, we're gonna basically try to copy that homepage header into the restaurants page. So let's do that now. I'm gonna paste it into this page. It's Command B. Okay. So now we see that this kind of lines up with the rest of the homepage. And now we're going to just basically find a new picture to basically change. And I'm just going to change like the picture. So let me delete. This is the photo that I'll be using for my restaurant header. So let's go in and add this image to our restaurants page. So I'm gonna scroll down to the shape section and then click image/video and then paste in my, where is it? Yeah, this image here. Okay, that's a bit big. Let's try to minimize this so that it lines up with the image on the home page. Okay, let me just keep adjusting the size so that it looks right. Since our image is a bit darker, it's now hard to see the navigation bar, so I'm gonna change this to a color, possibly white. See how white will look. Okay, I think that should be a bit better. Let's try to apply it to the rest of the nav bar sections. I'll just take some time to sort of reposition some of these things and make sure it aligns with my vision for this restaurants page. This still kind of seems a bit hard to read, so I'm gonna try to add like a background blur to see if that will work. I think that makes it kind of contrast with the background a bit more. Let's try to see how it looks with the rest of them. Okay, let me try. Okay, I think that looks good for now. I can like try to reposition this a little bit more. Okay. So now since we have our header figured out, we just now have to add in the text. And I think we can go with something like explore restaurants, or maybe just, yeah, I'll just use explore restaurants for now. And make this bigger. I'm gonna match it with the font of the previous one just so that my website stays consistent. I'll just keep repositioning this. Let's make it smaller so that it can fit within the screen. Yeah, okay. I think this size may need to get a little higher. Alright, okay, and let's position this to the middle. Okay, I think that looks good so far. Change this line to maybe like white so it can contrast against the photo. And now let's get into the rest of the page. So I'm elongating this so that I can basically like scroll down with the different like categories that I have for my restaurant section. I'm just gonna add in like a text saying like categories as well as like different buttons for each food category. So I'll have like categories like pizza, maybe like fast food, and like African food, and this is like how my buttons are gonna basically show up on my page. So I'll eventually like make 3 buttons per row, and for now I'm obviously not gonna put all of the categories that I hope to have, but for now just put like a few. So I'm gonna call this one pizza. Okay, I'll try to like change this display a little bit, typography. Let's scroll and see if we can find regular. Right, I don't know why this popped up, but I guess we can just keep it like that for now. And then I'm gonna like make this a bit lower and name this pizza. And then see, okay, now I'm gonna add like categories, and I'm gonna increase the size so that's a bit bigger. I'm just looking back to the other page to make sure that it's pretty consistent compared to the restaurants page. And then I'm gonna add a font weight to this so that the categories is bolden. And I'm gonna cut into the part where I add all of my buttons for my categories. So I just added a few more buttons for like food categories, and we see that we have like 6 items here. We possibly won't add all of them just as of yet, but I just want to show the user interface design of like how this can look like. So we're going to click this button here, and we're going to scroll down to fill, and we're going to click this plus sign and add in this like image icon. I'm going to upload from computer. So let me go into my Picnic City. Let's see. I can do like, I'll just do a pizza slice. Okay. So we see that this, wait, let me change the opacity to 100. Actually, let me do like 90%. Okay. Actually, let me make it a bit less apparent. Oh. Oops. Okay. Let's just go with a 70%. Okay. And then maybe fast food. We'll do the same. could be fast food. I'll do, actually let me see how 50% opacity looks. I'll do 50%. Okay, burgers. Let's also do a fill. Use. Okay. Let me just position this one down here. Okay. Let me group these. Let's put categories. Okay. So this is gonna move as one. Let me put full category a bit lower. Okay, so ideally what you'd want to happen, we're gonna create like another prototype link, and we'd like basically have one page for like pizza and then link it to another page showcasing like all the restaurants of pizza, and then same for fast food, burgers, African food, and etc. So this is basically where I'll stop, and we can kind of see like how our prototype works. So let's click play. Okay, so we see that this is our prototype. We have our homepage here. So when we click on restaurants, we now have this, and you can see that you can scroll. Oh, why did it? Okay, it's weird, but ideally you click on this and that whenever you'd want to explore a certain category, and then these different categories should link to their own personal pages once it's functional. And we can go back to the home page so we can see like our navigation is working correctly, things like that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening in on this web development series, and make sure to stay tuned for part 2, where we'll be learning how to use HTML to actually deploy a website.